Silent Hill F was one of the strangest, coolest, yet spine-chilling experiences I've played in a very long time. The story itself is super complex, making you the player piece it all together and form your own view. But to celebrate the launch of the game, I wanted to do a full story explained on the channel, walk you guys through from start to finish in a more cinematic way, and give you guys everything you need to know about this game. This is a very complex one, as I've said, so a more concise story explained that gets to the point will be out a little bit later on after this video goes live, so make sure you stick around for that. But I really hope you guys are going to enjoy this video. These videos take a lot of time to make, to write the script, and then to also edit them and to play through them as quickly as possible to get this information for you. So if you do enjoy the Silent Hill games and like this video, please do consider dropping a like on today's video. It means a lot in terms of support. We will also be doing a giveaway, as we always do for these types of big videos, for this game, and you can win a couple of copies on any platform of your choosing. So stick around to the end of the video to find out how to enter into that giveaway. But also, why not hype today's video? You get 3 free hypes a week, and it really helps these smaller channels reach these larger audiences, and it does help out a heck of a lot, so do consider doing so. Much appreciated. Control Freak also have some brand new grips out available. I love Control Freak. I've used them for over a decade now. I pretty much use them on every single controller, so go check them out. Use code Wizzo at checkout for a nice discount. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's dive straight into the story explained for Silent Hill F.
I don't need them anyway.
Silent Hill F begins from the perspective of a child named Hinako. She then began having a conversation with her big sister, Junko, who called her about why she's not out playing with her friends. That was because, apparently, she hangs around with boys. But her big sister asked her to play with her instead, in which she got extremely excited.
Really?
And we cut back to reality.
Thanks for waiting.
Junko.
Did something happen?
Hinako has an interaction with her sister at this point, thanking her for always looking out for her. She was in a vulnerable situation, a very vulnerable state, feeling unsure of herself and very down. She hands her sister a charm with a bell on the end of it, and her sister, Junko, walks over and hugs her, thanking her for the gift. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the story explained for Silent Hill F. Starts to give you more of a panoramic view of the town, showing you what life is really like here and the atmosphere that is around the town. Hinako and her family don't get along. Her father, a gambling addict, a drunk, lashes out on her and her mother almost every single day.
Hinako! How dare you speak to your parents like that?
Dear, please calm down.
This Junko knows how to show some respect. Why the hell can't you be more like her? Where do you think you're going? We're not done here, young lady.
Darling, please.
Hinako decides to get up and walk out of the house to go and see her friends, with her mother, you can see, worried that she's left her alone with her father. Now, this game is set in a small Japanese village in the 1960s, and making your way through, you can really see the detail that Konami have put in crafting this incredibly beautiful town and world that you are playing in. Hinako, however, meets her first friend on the way, and another character in the game, Sakuka, and down the path, sat on a bench, is another character named Shu. Shu is very special to Hinako in particular. refers to Hinako as partner almost every time they see each other. It's awkward on the bench, tense almost. Shu doesn't know what to say, and neither does Hinako. They've been friends for a long time, and he hands her a box. Before, in walks a girl named Rinko. She was infatuated with Shu, but always was jealous of the connection that Hinako and Shu shared. However, amongst the conversation, the atmosphere completely changed. Mist began growing thicker, voices of her friends speaking became almost faint, until...
Hinako?
Sorry. What?
You trip!
Something rose from the ground, chasing Hinako, and if it had caught her, well, she would have suffered the same fate as her friend, Sakuka. She ran as fast as she could, climbing atop a sheet metal roof, trying to escape this thing. Then it fell silent. Hinako was hurt, and everything was silent. The box that Shu had handed Hinako on the bench, these were painkillers. He'd given these to her because she'd recently been experiencing some nasty headaches. Signing off on the note, he's always there for her. Hinako, however, came into contact with her first problem, and this was not an easy one. Terrifying as that was, Hinako circled back around to the bench where they were sat on initially, and there was the body of Sakuka. She was covered in something, almost like a pink blossom flower, but something was alive and smothering her. Hinako takes her body and places it into a nearby hut, covers it with a blanket, and pays her respect. Sakuka always wanted to own a sweet shop when she grew up, so Hinako did the rightful thing and took her to a sweet shop to lay there in peace and to lay in what would have been her dream. Hinako, however, was angry. She wanted revenge. She wanted to take her anger out on these things. So she did that on an approaching monster. But that wouldn't bring Sakuka back. She had to push on and find the rest of her friends. However, it wasn't as simple as that. Hinako was being tormented. Her headaches came back. Something was playing with her. Something was watching her. And everything around her began to almost burn into ash until it was nothing.
Yourself. Take a moment to rest if you need to.
She woke in a different place. Hard to say what this place is called, but it's almost like it's in her mind, like she's dreaming. She heard a voice asking, "Are you all right? Do not push yourself. Take a moment to rest if you need to." Hinako stood up and walked towards something that looked like a shrine or an altar of some sort, and there was a note, Thy restless heart betrays thee as unfit for the auspicious day. Thou must first pay respect to the gods and the spirits of thine ancestors. A restless heart leads to a corrupt soul. Only through sufficient offerings laid upon many stands may thy soul be cleansed. Hinako had to complete a puzzle, and once she did, she started to try and walk out of the room until something happened. Her sanity level was critically low, she was losing health, and she was getting hurt. As she tried to exit, the door was locked. She began to panic, with a voice saying, "Calm yourself." Hinako smashed open the door on her second attempt and was caught in the arms of a strange man. He was wearing a white suit jacket, a mask that looked a lot like a fox, with long white hair. He knew Hinako's name. She was really confused. She followed the strange man through this strange place, periodically saying, "Take all of the time you need," to Hinako. They stop off at a shrine where the masked foxed man handed her a dagger, and he walked through a doorway. Hinako needed to find a way to open it, and once she did, he was waiting for her on the other side. This door, however, is special, he says. Not all are welcome inside, but Hinako absolutely is. The strange man guides Hinako forward. She can hear rumbles and growls behind her, and she gets anxious. She tries to shut the door behind her until something pounces and hits her. Hinako passes out in front of the doorway. Something or someone with a bell dinging. Hinako woke up later on back home in the village with Shu there to comfort her. He was ecstatic that she was alive. Hinako tells Shu the news about her friend Sakuka, and he was stunned. There wasn't a soul left in town. Monsters were on every corner, one nightmare after another. Even if there's no one else in this world, he's glad his partner is still around. However, Rinko was missing, and it seems strange because his reaction wasn't a worried one at all, almost like he didn't really care for her at all. Hinako follows Shu to try and find Rinko, and when they caught up again, they spoke about the current situation, asked what they think is going on. These two were children growing up together, playing their favourite games, Space Wars, even with Shu trying to pinch Hinako to see if all of this is a dream. But they know each other greatly, and I feel like at the beginning when everything was very tense on that bench, they were waiting for one another to basically confess their feelings for one another, but it never happened. He again walks off and leaves Hinako, some friend he's meant to be. There's a key to a door that Hinako needs to get, but in the way of that is whatever this thing is. Hinako somehow manages to best this thing, and finally they meet up again in a rice field. They begin reminiscing on what they used to do and play with each other, their parents getting mad at them with how muddy they were from these rice fields after playing all day together, with Hinako saying she doesn't cry anymore. She's almost used to it now, numb to it. Hinako keeps her emotions bottled up. She doesn't talk to anyone about them. Her reason? Probably her upbringing. Her parents, most likely. Shu, however, affirms again that he is here for Hinako, and when she turns around, gone. Hinako traverses through an empty, flooded rice field to eventually be greeted with a scarecrow, and behind it, a bunch of these things frozen in time. A note was laying on a hay bale to the right of her. The field that's all misty is really scary. I keep thinking someone's there, but it's always just a scarecrow with a creepy face. There's one scarecrow that's not actually scary. The only reason it's making a scary face is because it's got a thorn sticking into it, and it's hurt. So all you have to do is take the thorn out, and it will tell you which way to go. Hinako needed to remove the thorn from the correct one, and if she got it wrong, it would attack her. Hinako had to do this 3 times. Each time, the scarecrow would say something different to her. The first one would say, "Who are you? Why do you always have to be different than everyone else? freak. The next, who are you? I'll be your friend, otherwise you'd be so miserably alone. Then 3, who are you? Tell me truly. You two aren't anything more than friends, right? I've always been watching you when you weren't looking, you know. Now to me, this seems like it could be Rinko talking. All of this is obviously in the head of Hinako, but it's really interesting to think about that. However, on the final one, it was different. This one looked more like Hinako.
Hey! Hinako!
Wait. What just happened?
Hinako snapped back into reality, and there was Shu. They think this is the location that Rinko would be held up at, and well, it was. She was ecstatic to see Shu, but she didn't have the same reception about Hinako. Her family was all gone. She was as confused as we are. They all make their way inside, up the stairs, and speak more about what's happened. They need to get out of town. It is not safe here. Rinko, however, is not as optimistic. They are trapped here. The bridge is the only way out of town, and it's broken. However, the highway past the mountain behind Shu's home is still available and still there. So, before they head off, they're going to need a first aid kit, some bandages, and much more things to keep them equipped for a long journey. So, Hinako accompanies Rinko down to the kitchen to try and find any supplies they can.
Where's the kitchen again?
However, on the way and down the stairs, Hinako finds a doll sat at the bottom on the floor. The same doll that she would play with as a child. This doll would look out for her and give her signs along the way. And in this particular instance, there was text carved next to it. It stated, "Beware, Rinko." It was then that Hinako stopped and slowly turned around before Rinko pushed her down the stairs, knocking Hinako out. Hinako awoke in this dreamlike world again, and there, the masked foxman was standing over her on the other side. Hinako had to find her way to the other side and through a large gate, and when she did, someone was sat on the ground, crying. Hinako approached slowly. This thing, this person, however, she was no longer her human self. She was something else entirely, muttering, "I'm here to save you." During the fight, Sakuko would taunt Hinako, saying, "I know you want nothing more than to not be here." Hinako gets the better of the boss, and it eventually charges at her until the masked man jumps in to save Hinako, smothering her, protecting her against the hits of Sakuko's unhuman self, before somehow banishing it.
How foolish of an evil spirit to enter this place.
What was that?
An impurity that haunts you no more. Rest assured, you are safe now.
The masked man tells Hinako before they enter and go on to any further that they must be cleansed. They do this by bowing and drinking water at a nearby shrine. However, Hinako did not react well to this, and she fell to the ground struggling for breath before seeing another doll with the text, "Don't trust the Foxman." Hinako awoke with Shu rushing to check if she's okay. Rinko, sour, wasn't bothered. Hinako didn't tell Shu what happened though, and they wasted no time in getting out of there, so they headed to Shu's place straight away. Hinako, however, was having flashbacks to Rinko. Could she be possessed by these things in any way, or is she generally just sour? Hinako would rush to meet the two of them periodically along the way, with Rinko questioning Shu and Hinako along the way, asking why he continues to call her partner, belittling her even further after that, telling her that she sounds manly, questioning why they didn't get into a relationship after being friends for so long. Hinako caught up with them one final time, but this conversation was the most interesting out of the bunch. Shu and Rinko were talking, with Rinko bringing something up that Shu didn't want to talk about. Hinako is dead, living a better life in another world, but then Shu turns around and acknowledges Hinako. But Hinako is here. How is she dead? The three make their way to the school. The gate from the school and past is locked by a padlock, and this is the only way to get to Shu's house. I mean, it's small enough to climb over, but this is a video game. They need to find a key in the school in order to get through that gate. So, Hinako does a series of tasks in the school, opening classrooms, lockers that belonged to her old classmates, before Hinako heard her sister, Junko, speaking. How is Junko here? Hinako hurries to the door, trying to open it as fast as she can to speak to her sister, but when she opened it, she was gone. Hinako, however, gets the key and makes the way back to Shu and Rinko. There, Rinko is trying to take the place of Hinako, trying to get Shu to agree to playing a game of Space Wars with her. But when Hinako walks in, Shu jumps up from his seat and tells Hinako how glad he is to see her. However, before they set off again, they decide to let Hinako rest and sleep for a while. She'd been up for a long time. They would stand guard outside whilst they allowed her to sleep inside the school at this desk. However, when Rinko was about to leave, she said this to Hinako.
Nighty night, Hinako.
Hinako awoke in this strange place again. She was immediately greeted by this man. You saved my life, so I will save what's left of your soul. He had his mask off at this point, but once Hinako started opening her eyes, he would quickly put it back on. Hinako felt safe around this man, calmed almost. She would almost do anything he wanted. She trusted him, but she didn't know why. Hinako made her way through a set of doors, and there was the man. He went ahead to make arrangements, and Hinako had to find a way inside the door. There were 2 doors she had to enter to complete a series of puzzles. The first one she entered, however, there inside a cage, hanging over a pool of lava, was Rinko. Her first comment was, "Hinako, you look even more beautiful today." Very, very odd. Hinako had to get 3 things to be able to save Rinko. Throughout this whole journey, Hinako seemed like she's in a trance, like she's being controlled by someone, ordered by someone to carry out some tasks. There was nothing going on behind those eyes. Hinako returned with the final item and the device started moving, but Rinko wasn't done there.
Just for once, think about how he feels. You're a traitor. You played with his heart. Say you're sorry. Get on your knees and beg for forgiveness. Can't you hear me? Why don't you say something? No!
Hinako, however, had no interest in saving Rinko. She walked away like it was nothing. However, Rinko wasn't dead. She was in that cage on the other side of the building. Hinako would find her and stare at her in the cage. She is now begging for help, going from this cold-hearted person to now essentially getting on her knees and begging her for help, with Rinko saying, "We promised to stick together, you traitor." Hinako walked out of the room, leaving Rinko in the pitch black dark, listening to nothing but an echoed scream behind the closed doors. When Hinako walks through the main doors, the next room is an interesting one, because on the other side of the door was Shu. This room had multiple stands, each with a core memory that he and Hinako shared in the past growing up. One that was missing, in which we had to find and place on the podium in order to open the door. Hinako placed the comic book of Space Wars on this podium and opened the door, and chained up in front of her was Shu.
You came back, partner. I wanted... It's alright. Whatever the outcome, I'll respect my partner's choice.
Hinako, however, had no emotion on her face. She did not care whatsoever, and she simply walked over to a lever and pulled it, sending Shu to his death.
It must be hard for you to bid farewell to childhood friends.
The masked man met with Hinako as she walked out of the door, saying it had to be done, with Hinako apologizing to him. But why? The masked man had Hinako wrapped around his finger. She will do anything for him. So they both are to go onward. However, Hinako begins to get dizzy, her headaches come back, and she collapses on the ground and walks into the school again. She had no one around her, no Shu or Rinko. Surely that dream wasn't real. Surely they couldn't be dead. Hinako, however, walked outside the school and seen that the gate was already open. They were supposed to be keeping guard and waiting for Hinako, but decided not to and went on. Hinako, however, at this point speaks to herself. The plan was to meet up at his place, right? They had to go on without her. There are monsters around, of course they had to go. Almost like Hinako's trying to make sense of the reason that they've left her stranded there. But she starts to get headaches again, and red mist begins to follow. Hinako started to run away before being ambushed by that thing again. From the start of the game, why was it following Hinako? Hinako, however, would find a strange note dotted around the village on the way to Shu's place. She thought this was them leaving notes for her, but I'm not so sure. You've come such a long way. You're doing so well. You didn't need to worry about your silly old mundane world anymore. We'll break free from all that is here. Welcome to our sanctuary. The others are overjoyed to have you as a new addition. Interesting. This isn't the only note that we find along our journey though. This one is even more interesting. Prescription from my partner. Hinako began complaining of headaches in middle school. When I tried pinpointing their root cause, things seemed to come back to stress arising from her poor relationship with her father. In other words, she is suffering from tension headaches. I firstly recommended that she use the over-the-counter medicine, but soon she started asking for them more and more often. I don't like the thought of Hinako developing a reliance on such drugs, so I switched her to traditional Chinese medicine that uses kudzu root and peony, as it should be put less strain on her body. That said, I know the real reason she comes around so often, and it isn't just because she's looking for medicine, it's because she wants a place to air her grievances about her father. As my grandmother always said, you can greatly improve the flow of someone's chi by simply listening to their troubles and empathizing with them. Hinako was thrilled with the medicine that I gave her and said it worked wonders. But the truth is that wasn't the medicine alone. I want to hear out all of her troubles and concerns. I mean, that's my job as her partner, right? This was a note written by Shu about Hinako. Very interesting. He was trying to help her by giving her this Chinese medicine, and also just being the person there to listen to her problems, which is why a lot of the time he always ends his sentence with, "I'm always here for you." Anyway, Hinako finally makes it to Shu's home, but there was no sign of him there. She waited a moment, but heard a knock on the front door. She immediately jumped to her feet, thinking that this was Shu at the door, and as she opened it, it had found her. Hinako was knocked out, again awaking in this dream-like world, walking down a set of stairs holding the hand of the masked man. She's emotionless. The path ahead is one of great suffering, the masked man said. She isn't scared or worried. However, in the background, another doll appeared. Run. Hurry. There is no turning back. The masked man wants to perform 3 rituals on Hinako, 3 that would induce great pain. Hinako comes across a note from a family physician, which is really interesting. I've received reports that the patient will sometimes make strange sounds, then try to get on all fours and crawl around. Housemaids who served the family for many years whisper among themselves, speaking of so-called fox possession. I've scolded them for spreading such unscientific, superstitious rumours. Today I was ordered to keep silent about this matter by the head of the house. The family has denied my requests to transport them to a hospital. I wonder if it's out of fear that talk of the supernatural will tarnish the family's reputation. However, I do not expect the patient's conditions to improve with in-home treatment alone. Hinako, however, makes her way to the first ritual, again holding the hand of the masked man. She, however, was very weak at this point, but woke shortly, sat on a bench overlooking a shrine. In walks a bunch of people, all wearing fox masks, dressed the same. One carrying the arm of a wolf. They surrounded Hinako and holds out her hand. Hinako touched her hand, and she extended out her arm. The strange lady pours liquid over Hinako's arm and places something in her mouth. This is to bite down on, whilst Hinako saws off her right arm. The arm was off. A lot of blood was lost. However, the strange ladies walked in, sewed the new arm on, and it was sore. She had painkillers for the pain, but it wasn't enough to keep her conscious. The last words that she heard before passing out were, "I'm proud of you, Hinako." Hinako wakes later with the masked man sat next to her. He asks if she's ready to move on to the second ritual, and she agrees. The second ritual took place in a similar looking room, but involved something different. The masked man, conscious of Hinako's current state, ensured she was awake and ready for part 2. She awoke again on a stool as the same masked woman entered, but this time with a burning hot metal rod. This burns a mark in the back of Hinako, burning away her school uniform, leaving this scar visible to all. "You've done well," the masked man says, as she responded, "Yes," and passed out. The second ritual is complete, and now only one remains. Hinako sits on a box and the masked man next to her. A masked woman walks over with a mirror and points it directly at Hinako, and another 2 women follow. One with an empty box, the other with a mask of a fox. A knife was dangled in front of Hinako's face, with one thing in mind: her face would be sliced open and her skin pulled away to allow the fox mask to be forged into her face. One masked woman held her head still, whilst the other did the slicing. That empty box, we wondered what it was for. Now we know exactly what it was for. The woman placed the mask over Hinako's face, and it almost bonded to her face as one. The 3 rituals were complete. She now belonged to him if you agreed to do this.
You have endured incredible agony. That was brave of you, Hinako.
Oh, I can't. It hurts. It hurts.
Look into my eyes.
It hurts.
Hinako, look at me. Look into my eyes. There, no more pain or suffering to be had. Calm yourself.
That's right. No more pain or suffering to be had. I will calm myself.
Very good. That's my Hinako.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So,
However, behind them all, another doll appeared. This time, no text. The damage is done. There is no going back. Hinako mutters the words, "Finally, I have been reborn," when she finally starts walking. The masked man and Hinako walk down a long pathway. Either side of the walkway, people in masks wishing Hinako the best in her new life. They both enter the room, and there is a huge shrine, and out walks someone. They walk down to greet the masked man and Hinako, and hold something out, waving it around like this is some form of ceremony. This ceremony is ongoing, and Hinako, in the corner of her eye, spots the doll again. This time it says, "Remember, your name is Shimizu Hinako. It was here. Something wasn't right."
Today is such a happy, perfect day. So happy. Because today, Hinako will die and be gone for life!
This person at the front of the room doing the ritual tried to kill Hinako. It was Rinko. However, Hinako fights back, remembering her name, screaming it. And Rinko, she would continue to taunt her throughout this fight, telling her she knew how Rinko felt about Shu. She hates her. She wants her gone, erased from her memory. Hinako bested her. She didn't want to see her like this, but in the end, they finally got to tell each other how they truly felt, and they did not like each other. Hinako, however, begins to get a headache. Her name played on loop in her head. However, the masked man is back. She would remember her name, and then, boom, she's back into a trance, with the masked man saying, "You are my Hinako." Hinako awoke later to a phone ringing in Shu's home. She walked over to answer it, and on the other side was her mother, asking her to come home. Dinner is ready. But then it cut off, and then another voice in the background, screaming, "Let Rinko go."
Hinako?
Mom?
Please come home. Dinner's ready for you.
The phone cuts off, but in the distance, there was Junko.
Time is running out. How much longer will you stay here?
Uncle?
It's nice to see you, Hinako.
Something doesn't feel right. You don't seem like your usual self.
I feel the same. The Hinako I know is still just a little girl. As you are now, you're the one who seems like someone else. The fact that you're alive means you've made it here, yet you're still lost all the same.
Lost?
I've already told you countless times. This will be the last time I repeat myself. You must decide your future. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. The decision is yours, and yours alone. But please, remember this one thing. You can't think about it forever. You're running out of time to choose. And if you were anyone else, your time would have run out long ago.
Hinako must decide her future, and she can't think about it forever. She's running out of time to choose. What does any of that mean? Hinako attempts to make her way back home, and along the way we see how Hinako and Shu first met. He was bitten or injured by a dog, and from that point onwards they became best friends. She didn't even remember that. Hinako, however, made her way home, and inside the house itself, it was completely different. The walls, the doors, everything had changed. But then, the phone rang.
The doors. Everything's changed. Why
Hello?
Is this the Shimizu household? Hello! This is Okamoto Fisheries. Thank you for your continued...
Hello?
It must have been a wrong number. Hinako had to explore the house, and when she did, she heard screaming coming from a glowing red door. We had to get it open ASAP. However, this house was strange. We found 3 calendars, one for the 6th, the 7th, and the 26th, allowing us to go into another realm, but inside the same house each time. Throughout, we would see flashbacks of Hinako, her mother and father arguing, her father drunk, shouting at her mother, and her, of course, standing up for her mum, commenting she hated her father, but also didn't really like her mother. Throughout exploring the house, Hinako would find rooms of different family members in the house, each looking different. She would complete a series of puzzles before opening the red door and making her way inside.
Hinako! Shu's on the phone! Tell him I'm not home! I already told him you're here. Then tell him I'm heading out shopping or something. Okay. I'll tell him.
You can see me, right? Huh. Now you can even hear my voice. Don't just stand there. Come in. I have something I want to talk to you about. Who are you? I think it's weird too. To not have a grasp of yourself. To not understand your own feelings. What do you mean? What are you talking about? I think you're me, but I'm not you. That's my guess. But who are you? I am Hinako. But who does that make you? I'm also Hinako. Although, I might not have Shimizu Hinako's heart and mind anymore. You're not making any sense at all! What the hell are you talking about? Stop playing dumb with me! Why are you acting like this? Like you don't know what's going on? Hey, look at me, look at me! Use your head and think! Think about it. I could have killed you off at any time, but I didn't! Any idea why? Because I'm serious. Shimizu Hinako, I wanted to talk to you. We have to fight, you and I. A fight to the death as equals. But all you do is run away. Running and running. You're not even trying to take any of this seriously. If you are going to keep running like this, then fine. I'm going to kill you once and for all. Oh, and it's not going to end with you. I'm going to kill Mom and Dad, too. In this house, this whole town's going with them. Rinko and Sakako are next. And of course, your precious partner as well. Where is he? Where is Shu? Hey, is Shu really that special? He still just treats you as his pal to play Space Wars with, right? Oh, he doesn't even see you as a woman. He's just some guy you grew up with. His death won't matter one bit. You're wrong. He's my friend. He's special. My one and only partner. I won't let you kill him!
However, inside, 3 bodies hanging, all of them dead. This was, of course, the 3 friends that she had lost. It was all a reality, presumably with 1 hook left over, which is for Hinako if she doesn't choose the same route as Junko. Hinako, however, dropped to her knees, sobbing, a completely different reaction to what she had when she was in control of saving them both in the other realm, other world.
It's Hinako, she's back! About time!
Until the door behind them opened. Hinako's mother and father laughing at a table.
Hinako! You are late!
However, things weren't as they seemed to be. They were not her real parents. Hinako would get flashbacks of her father beating her, and that's when she snapped back into reality. Her parents took their true form. She bested both of them, and her parents both walked off out of the house, leaving trails of blood and guts behind. They walked outside and Hinako followed, but there, holding them by the skull, was this thing that was chasing Hinako. As Hinako got closer though, it crushed their skulls with its bare hands with ease, and Hinako let out a loud scream. A headache so strong, she passed out and awoke in this dreamlike world. The masked man told her to drink a cup of this liquid to ease the pain. He also did the same. Hinako asked what happened, and his response? Your body is still acclimating. You're doing well so far. She continues to drink this liquid, asking if the others have given up on her, but the masked man will not allow this to happen. This thing that she's drinking is a mixture of rice and water that's offered to the divine spirits, and it offers a divine power. The masked man gives Hinako a brooch, takes her hand and walks her off to show her the last thing before disappearing.
Junko.
Forgive me for interrupting, but I wish to speak with Hinako for just a moment. May I?
Of course.
Did you kill it? Is it gone?
Yes.
Is it gone?
What do you...
I see. For today only. This will be our little secret. But if it happens to remain alive even after today, as your sister, I'll kill you if I must. For his sake as well.
Shall I give you two a bit more time?
No, no. You've given us plenty. Thank you, truly.
Did you have a good discussion?
Yes.
Then we should press on.
They meet again on the other side of a large red door and takes her hand, leading her to 2 boxes. They both stand at the front of a room, open their boxes, and inside each of them had a ring. They both swap rings and place them inside the fox statue at the front of the room, and the door behind them opens. Hinako thanks the man for helping her to come this far, until she wakes into reality to a path filled with blood, seeing nothing but her parents' shoes on the ground. However, she takes out her anger on the monsters, screaming, "You've taken everything from me. All of this is your fault." She would make her way through the town, and her head pounding along the way. But in front of her was this thing. The thing chasing her, following her this whole time, the thing that killed her mother, her father, her friends, was right there.
My father! My mother!
Hinako tries to attack this thing, but it simply reaches out and grabs her by the throat. But then, in walks Junko.
I suspected this would happen. What you are doing is incredibly rude. But then, you should already know that by now. Kill her!
She instructed this thing to kill Hinako. But this beast was hesitant. Hinako asking Junko, "Why? Why would you do this?" With her only response, "This is for your own good."
Now die.
Hinako awoke in the dream world, walking towards the shrine again, and there was the masked man. They both approached the shrine together, and two masked women gave them an offering each, in which they both placed it on the table. However, in doing this, Hinako started seeing changes in her body, similar to what happened with her friends. Growth starting, her mask falling off. She was hopeless. She started to rise, however, after it had taken over, and she was the thing. The thing chasing her this whole time. She was that. Her doing these rituals, this masked man, was all Hinako. All of this was leading to this moment. This was what Junko meant about choosing sides. She finally got what she wanted by forcing Hinako to join her by killing her. Now, she is the new version of Hinako. Walked over to say her goodbyes, however she took the form of herself again. Although along her journey she would see these dolls, all positioned on a stone in the middle of a path or a road. The first saying, "Don't go that way." The second, "You won't be able to see your mother and father anymore." And the third, "You won't be able to stay as you are now." Hinako made her way back to her family home and stood outside waiting to greet her was her mother and father. And that final doll made perfect sense.
Hinako, our beautiful girl. Come on, dear. Look at her.
This isn't your home anymore. Even if you come back alone, I won't expect to be let inside.
This was the moment that Hinako had seen only moments ago. She was now the thing doing it. She would not be able to stay as she was then. She now is this thing for good. However, in doing the one thing that she thought that she never could do, it might have just saved Hinako's life. She, her actual self, her normal form, woke up in this dreamlike world with a doll laying on the ground, saying, "Help Shimizu Hinako, please." Hinako walked through this world in the same way that she did the first time, almost like she's walking through her own mind. She reached the shrine. "Now you'll help me destroy it all, won't you?" Speaking to the doll. Hinako, however, is ready to end this. She fights her way through and reaches the final shrine, walking over to the same bridge as the masked man and her did, and through the long hallway that was once surrounded in people. And at the end, Junko.
Impossible! You still cling to life.
Junko, how could you be on their side? You don't understand how I feel.
Calm down! Do you understand why you're here? Think!
I don't know. Where am I don't like it here. It feels bad. I want to go home.
What is that? How long have you been taking this? Is it really okay for you to take that much?
Yes, I'm fine.
Hinako takes the red pills to calm herself down, telling Junko to leave her alone, throwing her to the right of her, and she froze in place. These red pills, they block this world, they block all of this, which is why Junko was so against her taking them. Hinako smashes everything on the altar in front of her, and when she turns around, there it was.
You took everything from me. Sakuko, Rinko, and Sho. You even took my parents. I want myself back! Give back everything you've taken!
This thing has taken everything from Hinako, but she will not let it take her.
I'm done with this place. I can't stay here. I hate it all. Every part. I'll destroy it all!
Hinako gets out of there, along the way finding red pills scattered on the ground, transferring from one reality to another, hearing voices in the background asking her what the heck she's doing and is she insane?
What the hell are you doing? Hey, are you insane?
Shut up! Out of my way!
Even the voice of the masked man, asking why she's doing this. He thought he showed her, saying he cared for her. Hinako did not listen, kept running, even listening to voice notes from Rinko. Shoo. This thing, it was talking like her friends, impersonating them, getting in her head, making her try to see another way. But Hinako was so close now, the red door at the end. She had to keep pushing through it.
Just need to hold out a bit longer.
And she finally did. She heard sirens on the other side. So disorientated, not knowing what's going on. She's all over the place. And well, it just wouldn't let Hinako go. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the storyline explained of Silent Hill F.
Unikawa 2 to HQ. We've got 2 male victims here. Same female suspect as in the wedding massacre on Route 8. One victim is currently in cardiac arrest.
Kagerocho 1 to HQ. We haven't found the knife used by the suspect at the scene. Chances are good that it's still in the suspect's possession. Better consider her armed. Over.
Attention all apartments. This is HQ. Female suspect is in her 20s and wearing a wedding dress. Height is a little over 160 centimeters. Last seen fleeing Tsuneyoshi Shrine. Believed to be armed and highly dangerous. Exercise extreme caution.
Coming HQ, this is Kagerocho 1. It appears the suspect was observed consuming red and white capsules at the scene of the crime.
Kagerocho 1, this is HQ. Did the capsules match the ones discovered at the wedding venue? Over.
HQ, this is Kagerocho 1. Affirmative. Collected capsules the suspect dropped.
This game was so crazy. Honestly, this is one of the craziest stories I've played in a very long time, probably since I played Silent Hill 2's remake, and I thoroughly enjoyed the story the whole way through. Again, I've still needing to piece together what's actually happened, and a couple of videos will be coming out probably after this one if you guys want to see that, to go over what's actually happened here. And obviously we'll do an ending explained as well, to go through what's happened and piece everything together as well as we possibly can. But of course, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. If you've watched this far into the video, comment silent down below, and that will just let me know you've reached this far into the video, and it will automatically enter you into a giveaway for a copy of Silent Hill F on any platform of your choice. Let's try and get today's video to 500 likes, and when we hit 500 likes, I'll be doing the giveaway on the channel as well. But ultimately, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below of this game. Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Will you be picking it up, or will you be leaving it and waiting for a sale? Obviously, that's what these videos are for, so you can watch the story without having to go and buy the game. But it'd be great if you guys could hype the video as well as leaving a like. Subscribe if you guys are brand new for plenty more story-based content coming as often as I possibly can upload it. Without further ado, everyone, we'll see you guys in the next video.